Day 2 awards. See if you can guess who my guy award is. Who's my guy? You'll find out that and 3 other awards on Locked On Blue Jays. It starts right now.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Matt Bonaparte, Ben Shulman holding up a FIFA 14 disc.
Lionel
Who's
Messi.
that? It's Lionel Messi. Thanks for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Very exciting episode today because we're doing awards, but also because today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. If you were here yesterday, you knew that we started awards. We did the best future he was a Blue Jay, best hair, take I was most wrong about, and most angry moment.
Should we
So
recap
go
our
listen to that.
selections?
Nope, they have to go listen.
Okay. I kind of like that.
And now we have 4 more for you. So let's get going on that. And then we'll also preview the Red Sox series that starts over the weekend. Or does it start tonight? Starts tonight.
It'll start tonight. Yeah, it starts tonight.
Yeah,
Friday.
Very exciting.
Friday, yeah.
Starts tonight. So let's start with MVP. All right. Let's just rip off the Band-Aid.
Wow.
Who's your MVP of the season? We didn't confer on this, so I really hope we don't agree.
No, but I think we're going to agree. But there are some contenders to bring up, even if we do. For those who didn't listen yesterday, if we agree, we might choose a second place guy or something like that. My MVP, I thought about it for a while, and I just decided that no one made more sense than this guy. Alec Manoa is my MVP of the 2022 Toronto Blue Jays. He has been their ace pitcher really throughout the year. Like, think about a time where you were like, is Alec Manoa in a rut? Didn't really happen. Like, maybe there was 1 or 2 tough starts. There was 1 or 2 mentions of like, okay, this guy, his velo might be a little bit down. Alec Manoa has the highest WAR on the team at 5.7. The next best guy's WAR is 4. He's got almost 2 full WAR, more than anyone else. And if you're saying starting pitcher bias on WAR, well, the next guy's not Kevin Gausman. The next best starter, Kevin Gausman, who's had a phenomenal year, has a 3.2 WAR. Alec has near doubled Kevin Gausman's WAR. He's on track for a 200-inning season, which is nuts these days, and it's extra nuts when you are in your first full season with basically no minor league career to speak of. And, Dylan Cease and Justin Verlander have been incredible this year, but Manoa has probably inserted himself into third place. At the moment, he has a better ERA than Sandy Alcantara. Assuming that Sandy didn't start, I don't know. But at least as of, pre-Thursday, Sandy Alcantara's ERA worse than Alec Manoa's. So for me, there wasn't much of a thought. I'm going Alec Manoa, MVP.
Well, lucky for you, we don't agree.
Cool.
Alec's having a fantastic season. He's so good. And the Jays fans need to be hyped about him because, like you said, that WAR is through the roof. He's fantastic. Like Manoa, really. I mean, who would have expected a season like this out of him? He's just so good. But I don't like giving MVP to pitchers. They play once every 5 days. So instead of doing that, I'll go with the guy that has dictated the Blue Jays' success all season long on whether or not he's been in the lineup. I'm going George Springer.
Wow.
George Springer is the most valuable player on this team, and I'm taking that award at the team at its word value. Most valuable player is George Springer. A good splits number to look at is team outcome, game outcome for team. In wins this year, Springer hit 289 with an 867 OPS. He has 56 RBIs in wins. He's played in 72 wins. He's played in 56 losses. In those losses, he's hitting 229, a 732 OPS, and only 16 RBIs. It's not like he's played a drastic amount of games less. If Springer performs, they win. If he doesn't, oftentimes they lose. And when he's gotten hurt, we've seen them lose all kinds of momentum. He comes back. He had that series against the Orioles. He had one of his first pinch hits of all time. He was fantastic. He sparked the team's offense multiple times this season coming off the IL. George is the most valuable guy in that clubhouse, also because of the leadership he offers to the team. I think if you take George Springer away from this team, they're drastically worse. So George Springer is my MVP of the season.
I like it, except for your take the guy off the team, Michael K. reasoning, but that's okay.
Tell me I'm wrong. You're saying if he comes
obviously,
off the team,
okay, you want me to tell you
same?
you're wrong? Obviously, if you take George Springer off the team, they're worse. If you take Vladimir
But how do
Guerrero
you
off the
not
team, you're worse.
disagree?
If you take Alec, obviously I agree. But if you take anyone off the team, they're worse. Like, obviously.
No.
If you take Vladimir Guerrero off the Blue Jays, they don't make the playoffs this year.
But all right, but I'm just saying
if you take Alec Manoa off, they don't make the playoffs this year.
Yes, sure. I'm just saying I'm not saying that's the only reason.
I know.
I'm just saying you take that guy off the team, it's a different situation.
I like all your reasonings except that one. I hate that reason in baseball.
Okay.
It's a basketball reason. Guy who people are going to get mad at us in the comments for not including guys. More guy. Jordan Romano, I think, has a little bit of a bid.
No, he doesn't. He's a reliever.
Okay. Relievers have won MVP of the entire league before.
Back when people were donkey brained.
Wow. You are calling out the people of like 1991 for Dennis Eckersley.
Dennis Eckersley shouldn't have won the MVP.
Do you think Zach Britton should have won the MVP over Rick Porcello?
No. MVP? Maybe.
Congrats. You have the what?
You're saying Cy Young, not MVP.
Oh, Cy Young. Sorry. You're right.
Okay.
And I'm talking about MVP.
Verlander should have won.
I'm also talking about MVP of a team, which is a different thing, but whatever.
Rick Porcello should not have won Cy Young that year, but
we're way off. We're too far in the
I'm just saying.
woods. Too far in the woods. What's the next award?
Next award is most improved player. Who do you got?
I have another guy who maybe people would have got mad at us for not at least including in the MVP discussion because he is the highest WAR. If you're going, I don't want a pitcher, he's the highest WAR position player on the team. My most improved player is Alejandra Kirk. Alejandra Kirk was an absolute dog this year. I mean, he's got an argument for having, the best catcher season in the American League. Probably not the best in baseball because Will Smith and JT Realmuto are really good. But, I mean, Alejandra Kirk went from a guy where it was like, frankly, I thought, he's probably on the trade block. Moreno's coming up and, you don't really know how much longer you got out of Kirk. He goes from a guy who's just kind of fitting in where he's getting in and hitting okay, granted, to a guy who in a full season, his first full season, because he earned that time, plays 134 games, or now 135 games it'll be. Oh, no, it'll still be, 135 games. And has just been the steadiest offensive player on the team. 290s batting average, 800s OPS. I mean, he has completely changed the trajectory, I think, of what we thought he could be. Not to mention, although I know people don't like it, the numbers back up Alejandro Kirk as a better catcher than most people would think. He is rated as an above average defensive catcher, which is hugely important to him getting in the lineup. So to just be in the lineup that much and then also work your way into the cleanup spot, Kirk's my most improved.
Kirk's kind of the obvious answer. It's kind of hard not to take him. The dude came out of nowhere. He was so last year. I remember him being solid towards the end of the season. But this year, I mean, he's just blown everybody's expectations out of the water. I think the other option is Alec Manoa because he's just gotten so much better, even though he had a great season in his rookie year last year. But I kind of have to agree with you that it's Kirk. Because
I got one more option.
Who's that?
It's a little bit harder because the sample size isn't phenomenal, but Danny Jansen's definitely having the best year of his career.
That's fair.
It's tough because he's only played 66 games because he's, Kirk's in the lineup every day. Jansen is not DHing most of his off days, and he was hurt. But, an 820s OPS, he wasn't even – an 820s OPS in a down offensive year. His OPS plus in the 130s is way better than it's ever been. So, good job, Jano. But, yeah, it's got to be Kirk. I don't see how it's not.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we got a couple more for you. But first, betonline.net is your number one source for football betting info this season. Find all of the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sport wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to betonline.net or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline is where the game starts. Okay, let's keep going.
Awards. We continue. 2 awards to go on our season-long award episode. We just did MVPs and MIPs. And if you weren't with us at the beginning, which is a podcast, so I don't really know how that's possible, check out yesterday's episode for our best future. He was a Blue Jay, best hair, angriest moment, and our personal worst takes of the year. We go through. We've messed up once or twice. We'll admit it. 2 more awards to go. And I will start with the My Guy Award. Now, to be clear, this isn't like who you think the best player was or the most valuable, as we obviously done that. The way I thought about it and tried to explain it to Bones, although I don't think I did a great job, is like I used to be like, John McDonald's my guy. You know, like you pick a guy on the team that's not necessarily a star, but he's just your dude. You know, like you're rooting for him. He becomes your favorite player, even if it's just for a year. So who's your guy?
My guy's Machine.
Nice.
Bradley Zimmer. That is my guy. Bradley Zimmer hit a home run off of Justin Verlander this year. I mean, how many people can say that? I'll give you the actual answer on that in a second. But Zimmer has not been good. He has been bad with the bat in his hands, but he plays good defense, and he hit a homer off of Justin Verlander one time. One of 12 guys to do that this season, which is just nuts, like crazy. He also just was like, I'm going to Philly for a couple days, and then I'm coming back. So, I mean, how many times does a guy do that in a season? I love Zimmer. He's my guy.
A great pick. It's a great pick. I like Zimmer too. Absolute wizard in center field for all that's lacked at the plate. Just never like not made the diving and sliding catch. You know, like it's just he doesn't even make it look difficult. He's just kind of there all the time. I like that pick. I don't think you're gonna like my pick, and I'm okay with that. I take a little blame here because this guy he's better than I intended him to be, but he was my guy before he just completely started balling out. My guy is Ross Stripling. Now it hurts my candidacy here that Ross has turned into an actual dude. I mean, this guy's getting paid. Good for him. He's about to get a big contract this offseason. Probably make more out of that deal than the last couple of years in just the first year because he deserves it. But Ross, when they first started throwing him in there, I mean, his stuff, it's obviously more fun to watch now. You know, he's just going to dominate. But just watching him float those top of the zone change-ups in there and stuff, there's just something so beautifully simple about Ross Stripling. You know, he just goes out there. He reminds you of like you when you were pitching. He's just trying to throw some strikes and mix some pitches, but he's way better than you at doing it. And by you, I'm just, and not you, Bones, just kind of a ambiguous you. But Ross is my guy. I mean, also like the Ross stock market stuff is great. Ross is a trader. He's all over the stocks. The memes have captured it. The chicken strip stuff, phenomenal.
We were big chicken strip fans at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, like Ross was just like, he's been both of our guys, and the stock rose. It worked out for him, so good for him. That's my guy.
Yep. Ross is a good choice. I mean, if anybody, he's probably second on my list, and then Tapia maybe.
Tapia was there.
But yeah, Strip's a good choice.
Who else? I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that was like really there on the.
I mean, we loved Kirk, but he's too good to take.
You know who was my guy too? Max Castillo. And then
Sure, that was your guy.
Max Castillo, I like that guy.
That
I
was
heard
your
good
guy.
stuff in the minors about him. People liked him a lot. So, Las Papas, he's gone.
Tough for you.
All right. Next one, final award of our season awards. Unless we think of more and want to do this later. It's your favorite moment of the season. Obviously, there are going to be some great moments coming up in this final week in the playoffs, but you remember the regular season moments a lot, especially when you're a Blue Jays fan. And the Blue Jays have only made the playoffs 4 times, if they clinch this year in this century. So, your favorite moment of the season, Bones, is what?
This is hard.
I have mine?
Go ahead. I'm going to think.
So, I was a little bit bummed, I will be honest, because it unfortunately came up already. But let's just go back to it. It's April 22nd, the year of our Lord 2022. A cool Friday at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. The Blue Jays are trying to win a series or start a series off right against the Houston Astros, and it's Ross the Boss Stripling against Justin Verlander. Maybe a Blue Chew user. That's not official. Don't write that down. The Blue Jays are just doing nothing against Verlander. This guy's got them tied up, to say the least. And Yuli Gurriel hits a single to make it a 1-0 game. But the Blue Jays have a response. 5th inning, Santiago Espinal hits a solo homer. It's a 3-2 ball game all of a sudden. Blue Jays were down 3-1. It's a 3-2 ball game. Up steps the man they call Machine. Not the Machine. Bradley Zimmer. And he just waffles a ball into the Crawford boxes. As many a great hitter has done before him. As Albert Pujols, Barry Bonds, Barry Larkin, Bo Jackson, random baseball player has hit into those boxes. Bradley Zimmer joins the club. It goes on to stand. I feel confident in saying this season, still in the balance. It goes on to be Bradley Zimmer's only homer, correct? I don't think he's hit another homer.
No, I think that's his only one.
And again, 12 home runs hit off the eventual Cy Young and future Hall of Famer, Justin Verlander, who undoubtedly really is having his best statistical season of his career.
He actually did hit another home run.
Wow, good for you, Bradley.
Came against the Rays in an 11-5 loss.
As one of 2 homers Zimmer hits this year. Tell me he hit that off Shane McClanahan.
I will let you know in uno segundo.
If he hits it off Shane Baz, it still counts. I'll never explain that moment. I'll tell my kids Carlos Delgado's name was Bradley Zimmer.
Hit it off Dustin Knight.
All right, he hit 1 home run the whole year. What's your favorite moment? Is it not that?
Nope.
Okay.
My favorite moment came on July 22nd, 2022. 36,796 fans packed Fenway Park on a beautiful Friday evening.
Oh, baby.
Jays knocked in 1 in the first, 2 in the second. And by the third came around, Nathan Eovaldi was in trouble. Eovaldi didn't make it through the third, gave up 9 earned runs. And the Jays had a 10-0 lead heading into the 4th inning. They made it 14-0. And by the 5th inning, the lead was above 20. What happened? Am I back? Was I gone?
You're chilling.
Oh, okay.
You're good. I'm just laughing at the game.
The lead was above 20. Jarren Duran, who I actually feel bad for in this situation, didn't catch a baseball. He didn't run for the baseball. And they lost 28-5. I hate the Red Sox, and I'm so pleased in how this went.
Jarren Duran misses that ball, and I feel bad for him too. Although the not turning around and running was tough optics, it wasn't really like a big deal. And he lost the ball in the sky. It happens. So Tapia, the whole play is a masterpiece from start to finish. Tapia's up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And he hits the ball and immediately, and it's like, dang it. I just missed this entirely. And so everyone at home is obviously like, missed opportunity. I mean, they're up so much, but it's like, And Duran just never looked confident. They had also they had dropped the ball, the Red Sox.
They had done that to the Yankees 2 days before or something like that.
And the Blue Jays, I believe including those runs, scored 8 runs that inning with 2 outs. Just like poured on in a not real inside the park grand slam, but kind of one. I mean, that's fantastic. That's the high scoring game in franchise history. So good on you. Honestly, like, Zimmer popped into my head so quick, I didn't even think about that game. I don't know if I have an honorable mention.
I don't.
I think
But
those
we
two
should
stand
get to
head and
our
shoulders
preview
above.
of the series.
We should. Would you like to do
First,
the honors?
ads.
Pal.
Now, we're going to talk about the series coming up against those very same Red Sox. I've got a scary. Let's start scaries, although I'm not really afraid of anybody on this team. I want to take it back to a guy that we talked about a lot early in the days of this podcast. His name, some say Nick, others say Giancarlo. And I stand by the fact that until he rebrands to Giancarlo Pavetta, Piv, our boy Nick Pavetta, will never have a great breakout year. And we kind of root for Piv on this podcast, a Victoria, Canada native. We root for the Canadians here, and Piv is one of them. He's not very good. He's 10-11 on the year with a 4.48 ERA, 168 strikeouts through 170 and 2/3 innings though.
4.48, like, not as bad. And I didn't look at the Piv ERA exactly. Not as bad as I would have thought.
Get this. In his last 7 starts, Piv has been awful.
Because I was going to say, we saw them like mid-year. The Blue Jays saw them mid-year. And I remember Piv having like a solid ERA.
Yeah, he broke down. Last 7 starts, he is 1-2. The team is 2-5 in those starts. He's thrown 34 innings, allowed 20 earned runs for a 5.29 ERA, an opposing OPS in that time of 878, batting average 287. He's terrible. I mean, absolutely awful. But in the midst of all that, he had a start on August 16th against the Pittsburgh Pirates in which he went 7 innings, 1 hit, no earned, 3 walks, 6 Ks. So we know he's got it in him. All right. Don't worry about what came before that. If you are very curious, I'll let you know. The 12 starts before that, he allowed 41 earned runs and 68 innings for a 5.43 ERA. He's been awful. Nick Pavetta has been terrible, but he is my scary going into this game. He's due.
I've never seen someone like neg their own scary that much.
That's my guy, Piv.
I'm also going to go to the rotation. Piv scheduled for game 1, according to the folks at the Worldwide Leader. Game 2 is scheduled to be Brian Baio, who the Blue Jays have seen and whose numbers didn't look great then. Don't look phenomenal. Trust me, you got to take this guy pretty seriously. In the month of September, Brian Baio has made 5 starts across 27 1/3 innings. He's got a 1.65 ERA in that stretch. Whip's a little higher than you'd like it to be, but he's also struck out a guy an inning in September. Like, just had a really good month. Young stud who probably is really starting to feel comfortable at this level now. Just his rookie season, you have to mention. But Baio, I think, definitely is someone to be a little bit wary of in a not great Red Sox rotation. He pitched against the Blue Jays on August 24th and frankly was pretty good, like, especially for a rookie. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, K'd 7 and walked 1. But he did, in his granted 3rd career start of all time, get hit pretty hard by the Blue Jays on July 24th, a month earlier. That would be crazy if they played him on September 24th. But July 24th, 4 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs. So he's been pitching really well recently. Honestly, kind of just since that his first month of July, he was bad. Since then, he's been really good, a 2.43 ERA in the last 2 months over 7 starts. So watch out for him. He could be a little bit scary.
How about your hype train?
My hype train is Matt Chapman, a guy who's hit the Red Sox very well this year. 10 extra base hits, 6 homers, and a 915 OPS in 16 games against the Red Sox this year, which means he's played in all of them. So yeah, I like Matt Chapman to finish off the year strong. He's getting close to 30 homers. I feel like he really wants that number. I have no facts to support that, but I would. So I feel like be going for some stuff here. And, guys could start getting rested if stuff starts getting decided. So this might be one of the last chances for Blue Jays guys who really want to impact their numbers to impact their numbers. So I like Matt Chapman to have a good series.
All right. I like that from you. I'm picking my MVP from the year, George Springer. He's been great against the Sox this season. Started 14 games against him, played 15. He's got a 339 batting average against the Red Sox and 963 OPS this season. He's hit 3 homers, 12 ribbies. He owns them like everybody else on the Blue Jays does. Springer is going to go off once again this series.
Can I say, speaking of ownership, a little bit of a streak on the line here, by the way. The Blue Jays have won 6 in a row against the Red Sox. They haven't lost to the Red Sox since June, and they haven't lost a series to them all season. Like, this is
I mean, the Red Sox are bad, so Jays,
Red Sox are bad, but they have
they're the best
13-2
last place team in baseball.
The Jays have a 13-2 record against them. That's that's pretty crazy.
That's respectable. Absolutely.
It's the best one that anyone in the AL East has against the Red Sox, as far as I'm aware.
I believe it. Jays own the Sox, man. We learned that in the 28-5 game on the 22nd of June or July or whatever that was. All right. Well, that's all we got today. Thanks for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day as well as today. Go make the second one Locked On MLB. PFS, the MLB expert, brings humor, passion, and unique perspectives on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts elsewhere. We're talking Podbean there. I'm Matt Bonaparte. He's Ben Shulman. See you Monday.